Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss about the basics of the automotive. In the one of the automotive electronic basic component is the ECU, or you can say the electronic control unit. Myself, Dr. B. Ashok from Vellore Institute of Technology, India. Basically, ECU is a generic name. If you will do the net surfing, or if you will see in any books, in any research papers, the term ECU may be used. So the ECU is nothing but the basics as an electronic control unit. Before it is coined as electronic control unit, it has been called as a engine control unit, because as the very first ECU used for controlling in the vehicle is there for the engine only. Because of its success, it has been started to used in the other engine or other vehicle components. So that's why at earlier stage only the ECU used for controlling the engine. So that's why earlier it is called as a engine control unit. But later on, because of the success, it has been started to implemented in the what you called other electrical, or you can say the vehicle systems. So short for the electronic control unit is the ECU is the name given to a device that controls one or more electrical systems in the vehicle. Not only the electrical system. For example, with the help of the electrical, with the help of the electrical systems, it will able to control the what you called mechanical systems in the vehicle. For example, engine is a mechanical system, transmission system is a mechanical system, braking is a mechanical system. Like that, there are different system means it is a group of components. Okay, it may include many components. So the term ECU, or you can say the electronic control unit, it is nothing but a microcontroller embedded with a software in a PCB board. So it consists of a number of inputs and number of outputs. It will take the number of inputs from the what you called the particular system. For example, if it is controlling the engine, means it will take the various inputs with the help of the sensors from the engine. And similarly, if it is controlling the what is that, any other systems, for example, say transmission system, means it will take all the inputs, real-time inputs. For example, it may use a sensor, or it may use a switches, or any kind of analog sensor or a digital sensor to take as an input. And based on the inputs, the microcontroller will process, and it will controls the provides the output to the actuators. That actuators is nothing but it is the output of the electronic control unit. So the control signal from the electronic control unit will be realized with the help of the actuators. So in coming slides, we'll discuss slightly in detail. So the ECU provides the instruction for various electrical systems, instructing them on what to do and how to operate. So basically, it has a set of defined program, predefined program, and based on that program, it will operate. What are the inputs it has to take, and how the inputs has to be processed, and based on the inputs, how the outputs has to be controlled. So all these aspects will be handled by the electronic control unit. So in automotive electronics, the electronic control unit is a generic term for any embedded system that controls one or more of the electrical or a mechanical subsystems in a transport vehicle. So sometimes ECU may control only one system, sometimes it may control two systems also. If you take in case of some vehicles, the ECU may able to a single ECU may able to control both the engine and as well as the transmission system. In the same manner, nowadays in case of Euro 6 engines, the ECU, for example, engine and engine exhaust are both are coming in the same system. But if you see in case of Euro 6 onwards, there is one important component used in the exhaust is the SCR, that is selective catalytic reduction. For controlling the SCR, there is a separate ECU is used. For controlling the engine alone, there is a separate ECU is used. So depending upon the requirement and the nature of the number of inputs and outputs, the number of ECUs can be varied. And again, depending upon the vehicle to vehicle, the number of ECUs will be used. For example, there are different types of ECU is used in the vehicle, which includes electronic control unit or engine control module. The same, see, for example, engine control module is also called as the engine management system, powertrain control module, electronic diesel control. So all this name includes or denotes the electronic control unit of the engine. Similarly, transmission control module, anti-lock braking system, body control module. Body control module is nothing but it will control all body related functions like lightning system, windows, similarly horn, like that, wiper system, all the body related functions, it will be controlled by the body control module. Then suspension control module, like that you can name a number of electronic control unit. Typically a sophisticated vehicle consists of 70 to 80 electronic control units at present, and averaged or you can say the low cost or averaged cost vehicle around itself consists of 20 to 25 electronic control units. The number of electronic control units which is used in the vehicle will be depending on state of the vehicle, or you can say the cost of the vehicle to the cost of the vehicle, or you can say the category of the vehicle to the category of the vehicle. It will again depends upon the OEM and the users. So why, first of all, why we need a sophisticated controls in the vehicle system? For example, as I have told you, around 70 to 100 ECUs were used inside the car. Before emissions, why this many ECUs were used means before emission laws were introduced, it was possible to build a car without a microprocessor or a microcontroller. So once the emission norms has been used, the existing mechanical systems, maybe in case of SI engine carburetor system, whereas in case of a diesel engine fuel injection system, is not able to control the emissions. It is not able to control the emissions with respect to the required level. So because of that reason only, the electronic control unit has been started to use. So with the introduction of increasingly stricter emission laws, sophisticated control schemes were needed to regulate the air fuel mixture, and that could remove the pollutants in the catalytic converter from the exhaust. So mainly by means of the ECU, you can able to control the engine or the any systems in a real-time operating basis. Real-time operating in the sense, at this instant, what is the requirement? At this instant, what is the operating state of the ECU? Or sorry, operating state of the vehicle or the particular system. So it will get the basic information at this current instant how the engine is operated, or at this instant whether the driver is braking the brake pedal or accelerator pedal or not, whether the exhaust system is at what temperature. So like that, a number of inputs it can be taken with the help of the sensors, and that sensors will be given to the particular ECU. So the ECU uses a closed loop control. The closed loop control in the sense, for example, we may be aware about open loop control and a closed loop control. It is nothing but in an open loop control, whatever the input we are giving, the processor or a controller will process the input and it will provide the output. But the controller will not take the what is happening in the output, whether the input is realized or not, whatever the input given by the controller is happened or not, it won't take care about that. But in case of a closed loop control, there is a presence of feedback system. The feedback system may be with the help of the sensor. So the feedback system will provide again the input to the controller, and it will compare the current cycle and the previous cycle, current input and the previous input, and if there is any error is there, it will try to again vary the output to match the error to zero. So this will be happening for a quite long time till the error will become zero, or otherwise the desired value will be met with the actual value. So like this, this closed loop control may be applicable towards the any kind of EC control system, like air fuel ratio control system, or braking system, or suspension system, or any type of systems it can be used. A modern ECU may contains 32-bit or 40 megahertz processor, or even higher than that also. This is a bit older value, but nowadays the higher category, or you can say the faster ECU also been used. So because the number of inputs and outputs is keeps on increasing nowadays. So previously an engine ECU may have the 90 pins or 60 pins. It means that 90 inputs or 60 inputs only there, but nowadays it keeps on increasing. So as number of inputs and outputs are increasing, what will happen then? Ultimately the processing capacity of the processor also has to be increased. Why more number of ECUs has to be put in the vehicle? So mainly the need of sophisticated engine controls to meet the emission and fuel standards, and more importantly, as we are aware about that more number of ECUs were introduced in the vehicle. What will happen if more number of ECUs were introduced? Then there will be a difficulty in case of what you called diagnosing the vehicle, or you can say diagnosing the problem. So in that case, what will happen in order to diagnose it properly? So the ECUs has to be what I call more number of ECU has to be in the vehicle. So simplification of the manufacturing, and another important aspect is the simplification of the manufacture and design of the cars. By means of using some kind of ECUs, you can able to cut off the what you called some basic mechanical systems like that. And similarly, reduction of amount of wiring harness in the car. More number of wires can be used with ECUs means, by means of putting on more ECU, you can able to reduce the number of wires by means of having the CAN communication or something like that. And similarly, new safety features, new comfort and convenience feature, ultimately to increase the performance, to cope up with the competitor competitions, technology demands. So there's a lot of reasons where to put more number of ECUs, and ultimately as I told you, the very first ECU has been started to used in the engine because of its success in the engine control. Again, the same kind of or similar kind of electronic control unit has been extended towards the use in the other systems like transmission, braking, airbag, safety, and comfort. But initially, the ECU has been started to used only in the engine. Because of its success, it has been moved towards using the other components. So how the ECU is working? So basically, as I told you, it is an electronic device which consists of a number of input parameters with it and output actuators. So inputs are nothing but with the help of sensors. Like the sensors may be a variable resistor, potentiometer, switch, voltage generator, magnetic pickup, or any kind of particular sensor, crankshaft sensor, or a position sensor, or a temperature sensor, any kind of sensors, whatever the sensors, with the multiple sensors around the vehicle feeding the ECU data, it can manage and control the electronic systems efficiently by giving orders to improve their output. So depending upon the number of inputs, the processor, or you can say the controller inside the electronic control unit, it will process the information. So according to the information processed, depending upon the program written, so it will provide the output. The output will be given to the any kind of motor or any kind of solenoid relay. Sometimes it will be display like this much fuel quantity, or this is the current state of condition. Sometimes it will provide a audio sound also. So like that, outputs can be in any form. So ultimately, the sensors is nothing but a input to the ECU. Sensors are nothing but a sensing the physical quantity and converting the physical information into the electrical output. And outputs are nothing but the actuators. It is converting the electrical output to the mechanical output, or you can say the electrical output of the controller will be converted into the mechanical input to the particular systems. So each ECU typically contains a dedicated chip, or you can say the PCB board, that runs its own software or a firmware. Usually we will call it as a software, and requires a power and data connection to the operate. So this is a typical board of the what you call ECU, and this is the typical how it will be what you called exploded view, or you can say this is a typical engine ECU. So then the size of the ECU will be varied. It will not be uniform. For example, in some vehicles, the size of ECU will be very small. It again depending upon a particular system. For example, this is a typical engine ECU size. If you will go for a reverse sparking ECU, it will be in a smaller size. So ultimately, the size of the ECU does not matter. So the size of the ECU will depends upon the what I called the number of inputs and the number of outputs and its processing capability. For example, engine ECU may require more number of inputs and more number of outputs. That's why the this is the particular pin connector connecting the wires. So if you will see here, this is a very small ECU. Here only the pin connectors are here somewhere here, and ultimately it is not more than 20 or 25 pins. But see here in this case, in this picture, the number of pins will be varied. So depending upon the number of inputs and outputs, the size and shape of the ECU also can be varied. So typically in a ECU, the microcontroller, which is nothing but a CPU plus memory, this will be common. So depending upon the number of inputs and outputs, the processing capacity and speed of the microcontroller will be varied. For a engine ECU, the processing capacity will be higher, but whereas in case of the transmission ECU or other ECUs, the processing capacity can be varied. So depending upon the requirement, it will be varied. And another important thing is that the CAN controller or a CAN port, or you can say the FlexRay port. So this is nothing but this particular CAN or a FlexRay is a communication protocol for the ECU between the communication or connection between one system to the or one ECU to the another ECU. So ECU to ECU communication is happened through the help of this CAN controller. So what ECU consists of? Basically, the ECU consists of hardware and as well as the software. The hardware is in the form of printed circuit board of the ECU consists of microcontroller chip, and the software is stored in this microcontroller or other chips in the PCB. An ECU can be reprogrammed by updating the software or by the replacing the chips. So, but whatever the production ECUs, for example, if you open a bonnet of your car in the home, you can't able to reprogram it. So that is a factory fitted ECU. You can't able to reprogram it. If you want to reprogram a particular ECU, then it should have the separate what you called firmware, and the hardware has to be attached towards the ECU with the help of the any data acquisition and or you can say the calibration software. So not all the ECUs can be programmed or reprogrammed. So during the developmental stage only these ECUs can be reprogrammed or the program can be changed. Once the developmental stage is over, then the manufacturers will freeze the reprogramming ability and you can't able to touch anything in the ECU. So all the sensors from the system, the system may be the engine or transmission or anything. So if the say all the sensors in the system will given the input to the particular ECU in the form of electrical signal, and which in turn based on the information from the sensors, based on the information from the sensors and as well as based on the program written, the controller will provide the output to the actuators to provide the required output. These are all the key elements of an ECU. For example, core microcontroller is the main important component of the ECU, and memory element, the static RAM, electronically erasable program, flash memory. So electronically erasable program, read-only memory. Here only the program will be stored, and static RAM will nothing but the runtime runtime document or runtime values will be written over there. For example, if a sensor is giving particular input, that the two sensor values has to be compared. Those primary, or you can say those static, or you can say the runtime conditions will be compared in the static RAM memory. It will store some previous cycle informations or last 10 cycle informations. But the read-only memory, or you can say the ROM, there only the program will be stored. And inputs, as I told you, the inputs to the ECUs are nothing but the supply voltage, digital inputs or analog inputs. That inputs may be coming from any kind of, even battery is also type of input. And similarly, what you call sensors, switches, like that, there are various types of inputs will be what you call given to the ECU. And similarly, outputs may be given to the relay drivers. See, and another important aspect of the ECU is that if you will take the output of the microcontroller will be in the range of 5-volt control signal only. But if you will see the actuators for example motors, DC motors or stepper motor or solenoids, relays, so those actuators may operate at a higher voltage, typically more than 5 voltage to 12 volt or 14 volt. So the 5-volt control signal from the microcontroller is not sufficient to drive the particular actuator. So for that purpose, that 5-volt control signal from the microcontroller is given to the drivers. Usually we will call it as a driver circuit. For example, relay, there we will call it as a relay drivers. For driving the DC motors, we will call it as a H-bridge driver circuit. Similarly, injector drivers. So like that, the 5-volt control signal will be given to the driver circuits. From the driver circuits, the controlled output of the electronic control unit will be realized by the particular actuators. For example, from the H-bridge driver will drive the DC motor to rotate this much angle or this much speed, like that. Similarly, logic outputs, whether if particular logic is satisfied, then immediately it will give the output in the form of display or some kind of what we called buzzer noise or some kind of alarms also. And another important key element of the ECU is the communication link. That as I told you, the ECU can communicate with each other from one ECU to another ECU. For example, 70 ECUs are in the vehicle, means the 70 ECUs are grouped into 5 category or 4 category or 3 category, whatever, depending upon the manufacturer. So those categories they will discuss with each other. Discuss with each other means if one input is given to the one ECU, that input may be required by the another ECUs also. For example, brake pedal is pressed by the driver. The brake pedal information is needed by the engine ECU, transmission ECU, instrument cluster ECU, ABS ECU, and body control module. So totally 4 to 5 ECUs needs the brake pedal information alone. But there is a presence of only one brake pedal switch. But if you will connect this 5 ECUs with 5 wires, then ultimately the cost of the vehicle and as well as the complexity and the weight of the vehicle also will be increasing. So what they will do is all these 5 ECUs will be communicated with the only one wire called as a two-wire called as a CAN communication. It consists of a CAN low and CAN high wires will be there. So whatever the information is received by the brake pedal, it may be given to one ECU, say engine ECU. From the engine ECU, that brake pedal information will be floated in the CAN link, and whichever ECU needs that information, that ECU will pick that what you call value. So this is the typical internal circuits of the ECU. For example, here in the previous slide we have seen there are different inputs, maybe battery, sensors, CAN-LIN, and outputs maybe the motor, lights, relays, LEDs like that. But what is present inside the ECU? If you will see whatever the inputs we are giving from the sensors, it will be converted from analog. First of all, to sum up, it will provide the signal conditioning circuit. Signal conditioning in the sense, the sensor signal may be weak. It has to amplify or attenuate, or sometimes we need to filter the signal. So like that, and similarly, that is in an analog way, but the microcontroller will accept in the digital way. So all this processing of the initial input signal processing will be happened over here. So this related to that circuit also, it will be soldered or it will be embedded in the same PCB. So this is a one common PCB board which is present inside the electronic control unit, and from here it will be given to the microcontroller. So the microcontroller is a single chip which consists of a software, that application software and a base software. This application software we will able to program according to our requirement. This base software is software which is used for the what you call runtime for the microcontroller. And other than the electronic components like power supply, for example, here if you are providing the higher voltage, and that power supply has to be converted into accordingly, and this power supply has to be given to the other electronic chips in the PCB board. And this CAN and LIN, CAN is a controller area network, LIN is a local interconnect network. Those both are the communication protocol or communication softwares that later on we will discuss in the coming slides. And comes to the outputs. If you will see, as I told you, the microcontroller can able to provide the 5-volt controlled signal. See, depending upon the sensor input, and other inputs, the microcontroller will provide a control signal based on the software you have written. So it will compare the input with the program written, and it will provide the 5-volt control signal from the microcontroller. And this 5-volt signal will be given to the respective drivers. There are different drivers will be there. So that also, the driver is nothing but a respective circuits. For example, H-bridge driver is made up of a MOSFET chip. Like that, relay drivers, motor drivers, like different driver circuits will be embedded, or you can say the soldered in the same PCB board. And based on the 5-volt control signal, these drivers will able to drive the respective actuators, might be motor, relays, solenoids, like that. So the processing circuit, this is what we'll call as a processing circuit. Processing circuit compares the information from the sensor and between the sensors based on the software written on the microcontroller. So the output circuit switches the actuators. This is the output circuit, that is nothing but the driver. It will switches the actuators. Power supply provides the stable voltages to the circuits. So this is a typical internal components of the ECU. So again, this number of inputs, this sensors number of inputs may be varied from one ECU to another ECU. Some ECU may have 30 sensors, some ECU may have 50 sensors also, some ECU may have 10 sensors. And similarly, the outputs, some ECU may provide the 10 actuator output, some ECU may have 20 actuators, some ECU may have just 2 or 3 actuators. So depending upon the systems where this ECU will be used, the number of inputs and the number of outputs will be varied. But ultimately, the hardware construction wise, all the ECUs are same. For example, if you take the engine ECU, or if you take reverse parking ECU, or if you take airbag system ECU, the number of components or the arrangement of the components will be the same. The difference may arise from the size and shape of the components. Okay, so depending upon the number of inputs and outputs, the size of the components will be varied. So this is a typical again core. If you can able to segregate as a input, output, processor and a memory. So the we'll together put together processor and memory. We'll call it as a microcontroller. So what processor will do? Basically, the processor will receive the input data after the signal conditioning element. The signal conditioning element will provide the input based on the sensors. So based on the what you called processor based on the input from the sensor, or you can say signal conditioning at the CPU element. Inside the CPU, the arithmetic control, arithmetic logic, addition, subtraction, comparison, different kind of basic calculations will be done with the help of the what you call the program store. See the ROM will carries the basic or you can say the primary program which able to operate, and according to the program the output will be given to the respective drivers. So this is the typical CPU, or you can say the central processing unit. So depending this size and the shape, again the size and the speed will be varied from one vehicle, or sorry, one type of ECU to the another type of the ECU. It contains hundreds of logic gates which operates on the binary numbers. So depending upon the what I called logics, AND gate or OR gates. So depending upon different gates, if for example, if crankshaft sensor value is 1, camshaft sensor value is 2. So compare this thing, and if it is greater than 2, the injector has to be this much angle it has to inject. So like that, this will be operating with the help of the respective binary numbers. So to sum up how the process is flowing in ECU means the sensor will senses the input data and it will given to the analog to digital converter, or you can say the signal conditioning unit, and from the signal conditioning unit it will be given to the microprocessor, or you can say the microcontroller. It should be a microcontroller because there is a internal memory, and from there the controlled output will be given to the digital to analog converter, because all the actuators will accept only the analog values. So from there it will be given to the driver circuits, because the driver, why the driver circuit has to be used, the 5-volt control signal provided by the processor or a controller is not able to is not sufficient to drive the actuators. So for that purpose the driver circuits will drive the actuators with the help of the 5-volt control signal provided by the microcontroller. So here there is some glimpse about one by one component. For example, what analog to digital converter will do. These devices read the outputs from the sensors, such as the sensor inputs may be from the, if it is an engine ECU, the signal conditioning will be for the engine. If it is a braking ECU, then that is separate. You should not confuse with, there is a one common ECU will be present for controlling the engine, braking, suspension, etc. So here the example has given as a engine brake suspension. Okay, so the processor only understands the digital number, so that the analog to digital converter changes this voltage into a 10-bit digital number, or even higher than that also. So depending upon the requirement. So then high level digital outputs. On modern cars, the ECU actuates the many actuators. As we have discussed earlier, solenoids, motors, relays, piezo actuators, some kind of buzzer signals, alarms, displays like that. So all of these tasks requires the digital outputs. So a digital output is either on or off between, or there is no in between. So for that level, high level digital outputs will be used. So for that purpose, again, the digital to analog converters will be used, because the ECU, or you can say the microcontroller, will provide the digital controlled output only. But the digital controlled output is not sufficient to drive the driver circuit or the drive the actuator. So for that purpose, it has to be converted again into digital. And the signal conditioning is also part of the analog to digital. So what is the purpose of signal conditioning circuit means? Sometimes the signals will be weak, or some only you need some kind of peculiar signal. So for that purpose, signal conditioning is used to reduce amplify the signal, or attenuate the signal, or filter the signal. And again, another important component is the communication. So this communication chips, is used to communicate between one ECU to another ECU. As I told you, the one information can be needed by the many number of ECUs. So for that purpose, this communication chips will be used. Later on, we will discuss detailedly about the communication protocol. And what is the functioning, ultimately the basic functioning of the ECU. So ultimately, the very first functioning is that it will conditions the sensor input. It will do the filter, amplification, electrostatic discharge protection, electromagnetic interference protection, like that. It will condition the sensors, and the conditioned input will be given to the conditioned and converted digital input will be given to the software part inside the microcontroller. There, the software will execute lot of programs, like it will process the signal, it will calculate the signals based on the formulas, algorithms, lookup tables, or you can say the maps or the functions. It will identify the error, or it will do some kind of preliminary checking, or it will provide the control functions. Any kind of thing will happen in the software. So there is no prescribed limit. This has to be happen. If the software is written in a such a way that the ECU can perform as many control functions, and the output controller will be nothing but the output actuator. It will be in the form of, it will be a closed loop control. It will control the actuators. Sometimes it will detect any malfunctions. While detecting the malfunctions, while detecting the malfunctions, alarm it will indicate to the what you called driver with the help of the what you called all the systems. Similarly, informations on the vehicle conditions. Similarly, inter ECU communication. So all these outputs will be given to the out. Basically, the ECU software is one of the most important component. So the ECU software is a consists of lot of programs written, maybe in the form of C language or any kind of codes. So that will have the different configuration parameters as well as the decision making logic required to process the different inputs and provide the accurate output. The software implementing control algorithm combines the sensor value and calculates some meaningful actuator signals. So ultimately, this what is the role of software means? By means of getting the software sensor signal, it will combines the algorithm whatever we have written, and it will provide the meaningful controlled signal to the actuators. The software is embedded, which means it directly interacts with some sensors and actuators and does not change its purpose during the lifetime. The software cannot be changed during its lifetime. So it will fulfill the dedicated task of controlling the performance of the control algorithm. So the development itself is distributed. As a rule, the vehicle manufacturers employs several suppliers to deliver a control algorithm and ECU. Basically, if you will see, no manufacturer will manufacture a ECU software. Similarly, system also. For example, a OEM, say Maruti is developing an engine, means they will produce only the engine. They will procure the ECU from the some other supplier like Bosch, Continental, Magneti Marelli, like the different ECU suppliers are there. So some suppliers will produce only the system, some suppliers will produce only the ECU. So it depends upon what you call system, or you can say the vehicle to company to company, and system to system. So for that, there should be uniformity has to be there. For that purpose only, the AUTOSAR, or you can say the automotive open system architecture, is introduced. So it is an open and standardized automotive software architecture jointly developed by the automotive manufacturers, suppliers, and tool developers. For example, previously, before the AUTOSAR, this is a particular hardware, and over that any kind of software. If Bosch is using one software, Magneti Marelli will use another software, like that. Different softwares they will use. But once the AUTOSAR is used or introduced, the basic AUTOSAR has been developed, and this will be standardized one hardware. And AUTOSAR will be standardized one, and that application software can be customized according to your needs. For example, for you developing the engine ECU software, the application software will be different. For developing a braking, again application software will be different. So depending upon the requirement, it will be varied. So like this only the what you call the software will be running. This application layer consists of the application software and the basic software layer and the runtime environment. This will be this will be used to what you call control, or you can say the operate the microcontroller basic software. For example, in our PC, we will having the operating system and the application software. So in the similar manner only. So this is a typical type of a operating system, and this is application layer is some sort of a what you call application software like Microsoft Word or PPT or something like that. So AUTOSAR architecture specifies a standard interface between the application software and the basic vehicle functions. So as I have already told you, these inputs are from the sensors. So the sensors are nothing but it will sensor the physical quantity like temperature, pressure, crankshaft position, like that. And based on the information, it will process the output. It may be in an analog or a digital form. And similarly, actuators. Actuators are the many ways of providing the control over the variables around the vehicle. Actuators is general term used to describe the control mechanism, where it will controls the particular what you call operating system, or you can say operation of the system, maybe the engine system or a transmission or a braking or whatever it may be. There are different types of actuators are present, like solenoid actuators, motorized actuators, thermal, piezoelectric actuators, relays, or different actuators will be there. And not only the actuators are the outputs of the ECU, like as I have already told you, the digital display, analog display, or you can say the buzzer sound, some kind of indications, also the outputs of the ECU. The more importantly, the final the topic is the ECU communication. So as I have already told you, exchanges of the information between ECU is much more important in the aspects. So if you will see this, CAN communication can be used to exchange between the one ECU to another ECU. For example, before CAN has been introduced, so all the ECUs will be communicating in a zigzag or a randomized or unorganized manner. Once the CAN has been introduced, for example, all the ECUs, for example, engine control, anti-lock brake control, lightning ECU, air conditioning, power lock ECU, airbag, so all are communicated in a uniform or in a common wire or a common cable. That is the CAN cable. So for example, if one information is received by the engine ECU, that information will be floated by the through the CAN, and whichever the ECU needs this information, that ECU will take that information. So that's what we'll call as a CAN. For example, for that the particular ECU has to have the compatible with the CAN controller. So all the ECUs cannot able to have the CAN compatibility, but nowadays most of the ECUs are coming with the CAN compatibility. So the CAN compatibility is the excess cost, or you can say the excess hardware has to be embedded along with the software. So whatever the message is transmitted by the transmitted in the CAN, it is in the proper format. For example, start of frame, end of frame, acknowledgement, data, the data field, control field, like that. Each message has a certain bytes and it has a certain form of rules. So for example, if particular ECU says, excuse me, a critical message from the engine is there, and another ECU, I got it, and it will give, and the similarly the what I call, if another ECU may request that information also, it will take it and it will give the acknowledgement. So everything is in a programmed way. So for example, by means of the CAN controller, ultimately the CAN controller, or you can say the communication protocol, is used to communicate between one ECU to another ECU. If there is a many ECUs are there, if one information can be communicated to the another ECU. For example, these are the different CAN messages. For example, AC power, brake switch, engine RPM, engine fuel type, all powertrain related information will be broadcasted to the other ECUs. These are all the other informations where the powertrain ECU, or you can say the engine ECU, will receive. Like that, the body control module will send this information and it will receive this information. Similarly, ABS status, traction control off. So these informations will be delivered to the other ECUs, and ABS status. So these are all traction switch. This information will be received by this ECU. So like that, it again depends upon the supplier to supplier, or you can say the company manufacturers, to decide which information has to be sent and which information has to be received. So with this